Imagine a player so dominant that his numbers don't just break records, they obliterate them beyond recognition. In all of NBA history, there have been 706 games where a player scored 50 points or more. One man alone accounts for 118 of them. Raise the threshold to 60 points, and he's still responsible for over a third of all such games ever recorded. And then there's the mythical 100-point game, something that happened only once, on March 2nd, 1962, in a small Pennsylvania arena. That same season, he averaged 50.4 points per game, playing nearly every minute of every contest. These aren't just records. They're numbers that exist in a realm no one else has ever touched. That man was Wilt Chamberlain, and decades later, his statistical dominance still stands as the most untouchable feat in professional sports. What if the most dominant basketball player in history almost never played the game at all? Growing up in Philadelphia, a boy who would eventually stand 6 feet 11 inches could sprint the 100-yard dash in under 11 seconds, triple jump over 50 feet, and high jump well over 6 feet. He saw himself more as a track star than a basketball player, dismissing the sport as too soft. But once he realized his unique blend of speed, power, and size made him nearly impossible to stop, basketball became his domain. At Overbrook High, he dropped 70, 80, even 90 points in single games, leading his team to multiple state titles. Averaging 37 points per game, he became the most sought-after recruit in the nation. This was Wilt Chamberlain before the bright lights, already a living mismatch no opponent could solve. Picture being so unstoppable that the rulebook itself bends to slow you down. That's exactly what happened when a towering freshman arrived at the University of Kansas in the 1950s. In his first game, he scored 52 points with 31 rebounds, and from that moment on, opponents had to get creative. They stalled, holding the ball for minutes at a time to keep it away from him, tactics that eventually led to the creation of the shot clock. The NCAA also banned his leaping free throw dunks and outlawed over-the-backboard inbound passes. Even so, he carried Kansas to the 1957 NCAA Finals, only to fall in triple overtime under relentless triple teams. Tired of slow play and eager to make money, he left college early, joining the Harlem Globetrotters before signing the largest rookie contract in NBA history. The player forcing all these changes was none other than Wilt Chamberlain. Imagine entering the NBA and immediately becoming the best player in the league. In 1959, a 7-foot 1-inch rookie joined the Philadelphia Warriors and instantly transformed the game. Averaging 37 points and 27 rebounds per game, he became both Rookie of the Year and League MVP, a feat unheard of then and still rare today. His dominance sparked an instant rivalry with Boston Celtics star Bill Russell, a defensive genius whose team-first approach stood in sharp contrast to the newcomer's raw scoring power. Their first playoff clash was a preview of battles to come. Wilt piled up numbers, but Russell's Celtics emerged victorious. This back-and-forth duel would define an era, with Russell often winning the championships, but Wilt winning the box scores. The league had its titanic rivalry, and every matchup felt like a heavyweight fight. Sports fans love to talk about seasons for the ages, but one campaign sits in a category all its own. In 1962, a single player averaged 50.4 points and 25.7 rebounds per game. Numbers so extreme they're almost cartoonish. He played 48.5 minutes per night, literally more than the length of regulation, thanks to multiple overtime games where he never left the court. That was the year he scored his famous 100 points in Hershey, Pennsylvania, a night where the baskets seemed wider, the court shorter, and the defenders helpless. He scored over 4,000 points that year, a total no one has approached since. This was Wilt Chamberlain at his statistical peak, performing feats that seemed to defy human limits. What happens when a man known for chasing the most untouchable records in basketball decides that winning is the only stat that matters? In 1967, Wilt Chamberlain found himself under the guidance of coach Alex Hannum with the Philadelphia 76ers, a team stacked with talent but plagued by the shadow of Bill Russell's Celtics. Hannum convinced Wilt to abandon his quest for gaudy point totals and embrace a team-first style. Suddenly, Wilt was passing out of double teams instead of forcing shots, setting hard screens, locking in defensively, and letting stars like Hal Greer and Billy Cunningham carry the scoring load. The transformation was remarkable. The 76ers stormed to a then-record 68 wins, finally toppling the Celtics in the Eastern Finals, a team they had struggled to beat for nearly a decade, and capping the run with an NBA championship. Wilt even led the league in assists, a feat no other center had achieved. It was the year Wilt proved his greatness wasn't just about dominance. It was about sacrifice for the sake of victory. Now picture a team with three of the biggest names in basketball history sharing one court. That's what happened in 1968 when Wilt Chamberlain joined Jerry West and Elgin Baylor on the Los Angeles Lakers. The move created one of the league's first true super teams, and expectations soared. But for years, the Lakers fell just short, losing in the finals to the Celtics or the Knicks. Then in 1972, everything clicked. Wilt anchored the defense, West ran the offense, and the Lakers ripped off a record 33-game winning streak on their way to 69 wins and an NBA title. Wilt's Finals MVP performance that year was a masterclass in efficiency, shot blocking, and rebounding, proving that even as his scoring declined, his impact on winning was undeniable. By the early 1970s, Wilt Chamberlain was no longer the scoring machine he once was, but he still controlled games through rebounding, defense, and leadership. In 1973, he set the single-season field goal percentage record at 72.7%, a mark that still stands. That summer, he considered joining the ABA's San Diego Conquistadors, but a legal battle kept him from playing. Realizing his playing days were over, he retired, walking away as the NBA's all-time leader in points, rebounds, and minutes per game. He had redefined what was possible for a big man, not only as a scorer, but as a complete player who could influence every aspect of the game. Some call him the most individually dominant athlete in team sports history, but Wilt Chamberlain's legacy is a complicated one. His statistical supremacy is unquestioned, yet critics point to the fact that he won only 2 championships despite his overwhelming talent. His rivalry with Bill Russell became a study in contrast. Wilt, the physical marvel chasing unprecedented numbers. Russell, the ultimate team player, sacrificing personal stats for titles. Wilt's ego, desire for recognition, and occasional clashes with coaches often shaped his narrative as much as his records. But even with those flaws, he left an imprint so deep that basketball itself had to evolve to contain him. Long after Wilt Chamberlain walked off the court for the final time, his fingerprints remained etched into the DNA of basketball. The sport itself had to change to handle him. Lanes were widened to slow his post dominance, offensive goaltending rules were enforced, and inbound plays over the backboard were banned because of his reach. Yet Wilt's influence stretched beyond the hardwood. He fought for player rights at a time when athletes had little control over their careers, pushing for higher salaries, free agency, and more respect for the men who filled arenas. His records, some so absurd they seem like myths, still stand as monuments to a level of dominance the game has rarely seen. Decades later, his name is still the yardstick for greatness, the comparison every towering prospect can't escape. Debates about the greatest will rage on, but no player before or since has bent the game so completely to their will. Wilt didn't just play basketball, he redefined its very limits. Wilt Chamberlain wasn't just a basketball player, he was a phenomenon, a once-in-a-lifetime force who made the sport rewrite its own rules. His records may live forever, his legend will certainly outlast us all, and his story reminds us that greatness doesn't just happen, it's built through relentless dominance and unshakable confidence. But numbers only tell part of the tale. What do you think? Was Wilt the most unstoppable player in NBA history, or just the most unique? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the game's most iconic figures, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more sports history, and turn on notifications so you never miss another legend story. This is more than basketball, it's history in motion.